Do a little disking today. Yeah, it's that time of the year already, and need to lift up an engine. Back in a minute. Welcome back to the channel. Jtwes, Joey, Tasha, William, Elliot, Sam. I think we got about all of us here today. We got Sam and we got Ellie drinking sweet tea behind us, taking it easy. Must be nice. It's that time of year again, guys. And yes, I do have just a small little bit of a cold, so I may talk a little funny. It's time flies. My goodness, time flies. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the Silver Queen corn today, cut the stalks. I'll go ahead and warn you, we'll talk about it in a minute when we get over there. It's gonna be dry, but we wanna get them cut and get them starting to rotten, so we can put a little cover crop on it this fall. But first, Ellie bought an engine for a truck, so I need to lift it off the back of his truck. It was a little heavy. I mean, this boom pole is a homemade boom pole that I got, and it does okay, but it's you know, it's way out there, so it loses a lot of pickup power because the end of it's so far out there. But having said that, I told Ellie he's going to have to tear down most of that engine for us to get it, so we're going to hook it up, get that off, and then we'll get over there. Watch yourself. I got it. Hold on, let me square up. I'll get it. I'll get it. Sammy, bring a couple of those square blocks. Getting the weight down lower. All right, how many of you guys were yelling at me for the tractor raising up in the air? Raise your hand. No. Yeah, I mean, the weight, guys, on that thing is so far out. That boom pole probably would be better off if cut about 5 foot off of it, somewhere along there, and weld that hook down closer. It's just, I think it's too far out. It needs to come back in. Come back in some, I think it would lift up probably twice as much as it does. But yeah, it's one of those deals, you know, just get it off the truck, get it in the shed, and go from there. Got a little bog hair, and I'll tell you, you know, a lot of new subscribers probably since I've used this thing. I'll tell you a little story about it. This piece of equipment right here is the only thing I got that I can think of that spans my whole memory in 51 years. So I remember this particular disc from when I was a little boy. It's probably been in the family since 1959 probably. And I remember it when I was little. It had broke disc here, broke. These threads right here were rusted out, so it allowed this bar to just kind of go back and forth between there. And I remember when I started learning how to drive the 100, I wanted this hair always set in the bushes, in the trees and the bushes, and nobody ever used it, and it sat there. And so when I got about 13 years old, where you're old enough to do some things on your own, I hooked it up and tried to cut out some slide rows in the tobacco. It did decent. Wasn't much to it. It didn't go on the ground that good because it didn't have no weight. But I had the opportunity, and one of my uncles called me and said, look, you want that bog hair? It's about, probably 10 years ago now, Will. And I said, yeah, I do. So I took it apart, new axles, disc. This rod here, I took the factory rods to a welding shop, and they made this rod here. This is the factory end, and they welded that rod onto there, which gave me new threads here, and just fixed her up, and I've really enjoyed it. It's my go-to disc to knock the rolls down and stalks. Now sometimes I bush hog the corn, like the Hastings and the Jimmy Red. We'll bush hog those, and then we'll cut them with this same disc. But these today, I'm just gonna cut them with this disc, and we're just gonna roll them out and get them dying, and we can come back later with the other disc and get it cut up some more. We'll wait till it rains on it, get a little moisture in the ground, but get that process started. That way next year you're not have too much corn stalks and trash that you're trying to work through. I gotta grease it up. Did Sammy put me gloves on here?
No.
And Will didn't have a lot to do this morning, so he decided to do a little filming for us. I never know how much grease to put in this thing. That should be enough.
Told Will, I said, I started coughing. I said, man, just cut for a minute. This heat's didn't get making me cough. We got to get these weights. So what we did about a year or two ago is we made a set of weights that will fit down in these trays right here, and I keep them in the shed. I have since then came back and took about 10 or 20 pounds a piece out of them. They were just, they really were too heavy. And so we did that, and me and Will put these on after we get it hooked up. I had something on the tractor here. I don't know if I'll make a video on it. We may, and it may just be a deal one day when we start recording, it'll be on here. But I was watching, excuse me, I was watching Farmall 51 the other day, and he put a grill on a tractor of his, and I thought about it. I said, man, as much as this Hastings as I raise and other stuff that I raise that I'm pushing down with the front of the tractor, I really need to get a grill. So I called Brandon the other day, and he keeps some new ones in stock that are made in Tennessee. I think they're $200. And I think I'm gonna see if we can get by in the next week or two and get one of those grills and put on here. We may make a video on it, but watching Matt's video kind of made me think about it. And yeah, I'm pushing down a lot of big corn stalks. So I think we'll get one and put on there. And it'll look a little different, but it'll be something fun. Let's hook up this thing. right, boy. We'll go this far side. One. There's two. Okay, hooked up. Let's cut a little bit. Number one, you're gonna see it's dry. I know it's dry, that's fine. Our biggest thing is to get the stalks cut up and start it dying. Probably gonna make just one pass and spread it open. So let's cut a little bit and we'll talk about it. right, guys, what do you think? Yeah, I've always said that that disc will, yeah, I'm glad you got a pond. Can you see them down there, Will?
Just in the far corner.
I sprayed some grass around the edge of the pond the other day. Hopefully, I don't like too much grass coming out of that pond. It's a water weed, but hopefully it's got enough foliage above the water that the glyphosate kill it. But it cuts wonderful. It does what we want. It chomps it up. Guys, I realize that there's a lot of cow feed out there. Man can cut the stalks and feed it to his cows and stuff like that. And I'm not saying if I didn't have cows, I wouldn't go that route, but I don't. And for me, putting all that green back into the soil is, for me, is about as good as I want. I mean, that's what I need to do, is put it back in the soil. And we're gonna let that rot down, dry, and then we'll cut it with the other disc and we'll plant something on it. Some folks have mentioned like clover and a couple other things like that. When I think of some cover crop, guys, I always remember I really, if I remember right, clover's, yeah, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, clover's pretty expensive. And I'm looking for something that's, affordable but good, that would give me a little bit of cover. I've never done a cover crop. I've usually cut the stalks under, cut it again, plowed in about October, chisel plow it in the spring and plant it. So this is the first time I'm trying this cover crop to see if we can keep the soil a little looser and not be as hard. So that's what we're going to try to do. I had lost my train of thought. So we got to finish the racetrack garden up. And having said racetrack garden, guys, there may be a chance. I got to meet with some folks today and introduce myself to some guys or to some folks, and we may tell you a little bit more about it later. It depends on if it comes through or not. There may be a chance that we fill this thing in and it's just a nice flat yard now, instead of going up and down hills and twisting the frame of a lawnmower. So like I've always said, I wanted to get it, if I didn't raise a garden there, I wanted to get it where we could, if we needed to. And at the very least, it would be level again where we're not going up and down hills. So I'll let you, if anything comes out today of the meeting that could benefit the channel, be something good to record and stuff, I'll certainly let you know. And we got a trip in August, and I'll film that. I'm gonna leave on a Thursday and come back on a Sunday. So hopefully I'd have that video out by that Wednesday I get back. And we're just gonna cut a little bit. I said in the beginning of the video, time flies, and seasons change. And I'm sure, I think I was watching Danny a little bit down at Deep South, and he was drying corn. Our corn's not at the drying stage yet, but his is. And it just seems like it was just yesterday we both were putting them in the ground. Took forever. When I was young, summer lasted forever. And now when you're 50, summer lasts for about a month at the very most. And we were just planting this corn the other day, and and before you know it, I'm gonna be making a video cutting down the cover crop to get ready for spring Silver Queen or something like that for next year. Lord willing that we're here. I try not to say these big plans out without realizing, Lord willing, we're here. But did you see the ducks, Will? Show everybody the ducks. So we got two ornery ducks that just think they got to be in everybody's business. They're two female ducks. So the duck story is my mama, before she passed away, she had hatched some ducks, and a fox or coyote or something got most of them, and one of them lived, and his name was what, Will? Charles?
No. Harold.
Harold. His name was Harold. Yeah, that's right, Harold the duck. So his name was Harold, and he lived for like 2 years by himself here. And we said, well, you know what? We need to get Harold some buddies. So we got these 2 ducks here, and Harold just absolutely fell in love. He married the big duck right away. They got engaged and married all in about 5 minutes. And he was happy for 2 weeks. He was the man. He had him two ducks, and he was so happy. And lo and behold, Harold comes up missing. I'm like, doggone it. He let his guard down. But so now we got these 2. I guess we need to find another Harold. But let's finish cutting these. I got 4 short rolls. We'll finish video out, cutting those 4 short rolls. We'll get to racetrack next. Won't be long. I'll probably look into digging some sweet potatoes and at least disking up. We'll at least disc up. Once we get the sweet potatoes up, we'll disc up the lower portion of the garden, everything except the Hastings that's in those green beans, and we'll disc them up. And still hadn't got, from my last video, we got just a couple of tenths of rain. I think the Jimmy Red that's in with the green beans, I believe it'll make a little bit. I'm not sure about the Hastings. It's just time will tell. And we'll just have to see. Ever how it comes out, we'll be happy to have it and move on, go on to the next thing. So God bless you. God loves you. We'll see you.